Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Andrew Manyika.
All right. How are you doing tonight? Awesome. Can we please have another square of applause, round of applause? Your preferred shape of applause for the MC? Yes, Poetry Africa. Thank you so much for having us out. I'm only going to be here for 20 minutes, all right? So, yeah, we're going to have fun tonight, guys. The first thing I want to say, yes, poet and comedian from Zimbabwe, which, as some of you already know, is one of the few countries in the world where patience, talent, perseverance, and hard work can lead you to more blessing. Because in Zimbabwe, patience, perseverance, more blessing, these are all people's names. So if you know one, they can lead you to the next. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. Yeah, it's been a good year for me, obviously, being a Poetry Africa highlight. But the year started for me, actually, with a trip to the US, where I was performing at a poetry festival there. Only on my way back did I realize how much American culture I had absorbed and been assimilated into. Because I realized that when I had flown in, my seat number was 57B, so I was coming to America as passenger 57. I was Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes. Then I come here to the Bel Air Hotel, and I'm like the Fresh Prince. It's like, the black guy trifecta has been accomplished. Peak blackness achieved. But yeah, here we are, Durban, South Africa. I used to live in South Africa, some of you will know, in Johannesburg. Poetry Africa has really made us feel very special, almost like celebrities. Yesterday we were signing autographs for the kids at a high school. So I feel like one of the local rappers, you know. No, this is serious, because you guys know this, that the local rap community in Mzansi are really determined to make sure that people read and appreciate the written word. You can tell because they don't even use words as their names anymore. They use letters, right? Because you've got your AKA, double HP, JR, Mai, the LES, and of course Nasty. That's the one. There you go. So I was in Mzansi during the xenophobic attacks of 2008, and there's nothing funny about that. Well, there is this one story. There is this one story. So obviously you guys will remember, like during the xenophobic attacks, people were trying to weed out foreigners, and what you would do was ask like a literal life and death question, and that was the weirdest thing. Like it was what is the elbow, right? But you had to say it in Zulu because when you pronounce it in Zulu, it's a very complicated word, I guess, to say. So it was like people walking around town literally saying yinle, yinle, yinle. So, you know, and of course you guys know that the answer is, hey, marked safe during the xenophobic attacks. Well done, guys, well done. Yeah, so Indololoan was the correct thing to say. But here I was, Zimbabwean. So we caught on eventually that, okay, this is the trick question. So they came up with a new question, and that question was, right? It was like, if a person cries, what comes out of their face? So this guy comes up to me. I'm in town, I'm working, living my life, pretty street. And he comes up to me, he's like, Wendod, so there I'm scared, I don't know what is going on, right? And I know this is the catchphrase, literally, the phrase they will use to catch you out. So I'm there. And I'm trying to answer this question, but I'm trying to answer it the right way. I think about it for like 2 seconds, and then it clicks. So I look him in the eye. I'm like, I look him and I say, Indoda Ekal is bad. Which means boys don't cry. So yeah. But you guys came here for poetry, right? So I hope you're watching closely. An hourglass, a pair of wayfarers, a chalice. Hold the image as the tale of the untold damage done to a wax-winged bird, bold in plumage, unfolds, she plummets. As she's drifting on the ocean, tossed here by the winds of reason and there by the waves of emotion, she tweets to no avail, tries to speak but does not prevail. As the tide breaks, she washes ashore, she's beached without a sail. We don't outgrow wanting to be touched. And she had never wanted it so much as she did while she waited on the silent sound to say that she could fly again. She lies in the sand and makes a mattress of the grains. With many hours past, she stands at last and shakes those grains into her hourglass and turns it. This is how her time amongst us begins. She has forsaken the form of the creature with broken wings. The bird has blossomed and become a human. Better yet, she has chosen the wayfarer form and become a woman in the meantime. I put my Wayfarers on and I step to the stage because I'm a rapper and I spit with a rage. I scream, I say I'm ill and I can only get iller. And ladies, no love doesn't get much realer than in the arms of a legitimate lady killer. I'm like a lion in wait, but I pounce like Godzilla. As I step off stage, something brings her to my field of vision. As we speak, it clicks that she's here because she followed the links to my site. So I proceed to bind her to myself with a chain made of links to my site. I take my glasses off and let her in. Her hourglass turns, and this is how our time together begins. Months pass, but as we stand after I've caught her, it strikes me that she's such a lamb to the slaughter, a sheep in the big city, or as she puts it, pig city. So we're stagnant, static, but the electricity activates her sexually, and with my Wayfarers on, I try to sell myself this illusion that her ways fairer on a road with me, but I'm disillusioned. You see, love or piety won't let me be a Pharisee, and given how far I see, I recognize the truth and abandon the player's doctrine. And without getting a doctor in, I diagnose her heart's condition. She's in love. I try to stop her before she starts the mission, but I'm late. So before this becomes the tale of a tragic blossom, I pull her to the side and try to explain to her that due to the former exploits of what I thought was my Magic Johnson, I'm ill. And I can only get iller. And yes, perhaps love doesn't get much realer. But if you choose me, you make me a literal lady killer because what's eating at me is lying in wait, but it'll pounce on you like Godzilla. But it's like she's not listening. It's like she's playing and picking Pokemon, pointing a finger at me and saying, Godzilla, I choose you. The paradox of the innocent bystander is that there is no innocence in standing by. So I'm guilty. Because I don't drive home the point that due to what we've done, we are warming ourselves with the fires on the cool side of the sun. We are still burning, and her eyes are churning. And in trying to trace the trajectory of her tears, I lose my way because they're lost in the laughter lines still lingering around her lips. She's smiling. We don't outgrow wanting to be touched, but sometimes what we don't choose is by who, where, or how much. I touched her heart and it splintered. She takes 2 shots. With the first, she clips her own wings and chooses to become earthbound. She abandons making bird sound, and with the second, she cuts a hole through the hourglass and turns it. And we stand watching our time running out. Finally empty, her hourglass has become our glass, a chalice, and from it we both take sips. It's an act of love. It's done without malice, but as we do it, our dreams of the future are born, dance, and die in the mingling of our now mangled lips. Thank you. Yeah, you guys are a fun crowd. Thank you. So I came out of slam poetry as a culture. That's where I started performing. So seeing paper on stage, like, take it away. But I learned finally that it's okay to read on stage. So here I am. This one is called Bad Blood, or For My Friend Who Became My Landlord. I see I'm not the only one. There are so many phases to falling apart. I went mouth first. Once nimble tongue, now clumsy enough to trip landmines, I land mine on all the wrong buttons, while serrated edge teeth open wounds, opening an overdraft on the goodwill of our friendship. Broken promises issue from both sides of the mouth of a breaking man. I didn't think, not in 3 decades of sleeping, not even under full moons when the nightmares ran all night beside the overnight stallions. No, not in all of that wild dreaming did I imagine that I could wear the title that you gave me. I am falling apart, and close as we are, you are caught in the blast. I'm sorry. Still fixing my lips to frame the phrase, before the words can escape, the roof of my mouth caves. Bruised or broken, they still seep out from the debris in a tidal wave of saliva and sorrow. When we were younger, I didn't believe in the silence of the S in debris, and debut was debut. Now, but the thought of that sort of silliness was the type of silliness that we would share a chuckle over, but I have not been able to fish laughter out of your navel these last months. Nowadays, my words are shrapnel, swimming in your ear canal, joining capillaries, arteries, veins, tributaries, and you are taking everything to heart, using dimmer switches on the lights in your eyes, culling the number of teeth in your smile until out of the fullness of your heart, you call me the man who doesn't keep his word. Capillaries, veins, arteries, waging war with words as artillery, and I am taking everything to heart so that one's nimble tongue cannot make it across the deepening pool of bad blood between us to assuage you with better words than the broken ones that you've already heard. Thank you. So poets and love, what are you gonna do? Um, Breakup poems, right, are gonna be brief because who likes to linger over that? This one is called Space Time, and it comes from the famous line, you guys know, hey, I need some space because NASA called and the space program is taking people, so, gotta go do my thing. I always wanted to be an astronaut, to Buzz Lightyear, whatever. All right. She said, I need a little space. I need a little time. I need a little something to clear out my mind. I didn't know she was a physicist, or the value that she placed on her experiments, or that I would be one of the many things she'd leave behind while searching for pieces of herself in the fabric of space and time. And then this one is called Refuse. Refuse as in trash, as in you treated me like garbage, and then decided it was beneath you to be seen sifting through the trash. So you left me lying in a heap, lying in the heap of refuse, keeping company with all the other unwanted things for which the former owners could now find no use. Thank you. We're having fun, right? You guys look like you're having fun. I'm glad. Thank you so much. You're very warm, very receptive, like lasagna. All right. So I'm on Facebook one day, as one is. I find people are looking to hire, and they say, we need a copywriter, and if you can write a tear-jerking poem about bacon, you're our guy. So what do? You write a tear-jerking poem about bacon. Bacon! You guys, all right, let me do this. All right. Bacon, we never knew you. Yours was the sweet savor of a Saturday morning. Scintillating scent transcending space and perhaps time. Titillating taste teasing tongue and perhaps mind. Placed on plates while I cleared the palate amongst taste buds you had pride of place, my mouth, your palace. Bacon. You who moved from forbidden fruit to breakfast staple. Oh, the hopeless emptiness when you were absent from the breakfast table. Devoured in a flurry of gobbledygook, we chowed and munched and gobbled. Now look, all that remains is a plate marked with grease stains, and the unspeakable question lingering on our brains. Does it really come from a pig's rear end? I'm asking for a friend. My dear, dear friend, Bacon, we never knew you. And perhaps that was for the best. Thank you. Right, so this poem is called Goodbye, and I see flashing lights, so I don't have a lot of time, but goodbye. Word built like granite, granting more of take than give, made with more of die than live, leaving bitter aftertaste after every time I depart in haste, leaving often never feeling the full force of departure, fearful that underneath it I would come undone, that I would splinter and break, I would shudder and shake, I would stumble and fall, I would crumble, and all that would remain in my wake is smithereens and splintered dreams and crimson streams and little things. A collage of brokenness. So I steal myself away, steal myself, save for another day. So I made you guys a promise on Monday that we would finish that story, right? You guys still interested, right? Because not every series gets renewed for a second season, so we can, all right, it's fine. She said, how come you never take off your ties? I said, because you never take off your lies. Wake up, you're fine. You only need to make up your mind. She said, I get that you're the poet here, but allow me to break down my make-up philosophy. I wear it because being colorless means being plain old black and white, and those two extremes are simply too extreme for me. So why don't you, Mr. Poet, tell me something philosophical about looks? I told her, look, if it's philosophy you want, you should really be about books, but okay, I'll bite. To me, it seems pretty apparent that for you, colorless really means transparent. More than a disdain for being plain, behind color, you seem to find a cloak for your pain. She says nothing to object, but allows me to stand there and witness her process. So she stands on the foundation of the sculpture that she's making to base herself on it. A little embarrassed that I can see all this, she brushes her cheeks with blushes. She's sweet. But even in this, she lacks honesty because her blush is paradoxically some permanent shade of 12-hour modesty. Unburdening herself of the epiphany she keeps in the bags under her eyes, they shadow, like the hiding the light of her soul behind thunderous skies. Then she grabs that pencil and lines them up to that ideal image. In her mind, she's struck. And the lengthened lashes of her mascara help her to ignore the mass scarring of her soul, so that off the top of her head, she's retelling her tale, but it's just starring the highlights. Her red lips stick together as though joined in agreement that they'll never spill the secret of who she really is. She forgot the concealer, but at this point, doesn't really see the need. So, nearly ready to leave, but now like she's looking for lost change, she's rummaging through her brassiere, searching for leverage against the world, and settles on her cleavage, finding the idea most strange that someone might cleave to her without it. So that even while her push-up bra buoys her mammary glands, my memory hands me images of a time when she was as simple to read as black ink on white paper. She was a picture whose texture had a uniform feel, but she's pushed up out of my reach on a platform heel. She's done. She's made up a fairy tale. And this construct of her imagination says, tell me I'm beautiful. To which I respond, if the eyes are the window to the soul, then I am a disappointed peeping Tom, because I have been keeping warm off the heat yours generates like a supernova's best, and I return to tell you that you, ma'am, with your colored contact lenses, have a soul which is overdressed, but you're beautiful. And have been so from the beginning. Not the first time a man told you how deep his desire was to hold you, but the very beginning, when you first pewtered from prepubescence to adolescence, and time chose you to feed new essence, the very beginning. When you, and I know that it's odd, my dear, but it goes back to when you were truer than Athena springing from Zeus's head. You were God's idea. A prime example of his workmanship. A poem pitted to parade his penmanship. And as you go through the motions from fetal position to fatal position, your entire biography has been written in the flawless tip of his endless calligraphy. Your spirit, the mind you taint, and the body you paint. So wake up, you're fine. You only need to make up your mind. So I should take it off? No, keep the colors, I like them. I'm saying the human vessel is inherently imperfect, so that maybe she's born with it, and maybe you need to take care. Love the skin you're in, you're both worth it. As long as the option is open and the potion is potent, sip slow. But when the years make their mark, don't let it break your heart, just say amen to the omens. But if you insist on battling these 7 signs of aging, please remember the timeline in your face is only making your story more worth the paging. Crow's feet and laughter lines are in the nature of a human being, and only serve as evidence that you have lived, that you have breathed, that you have been. Tell me I'm beautiful, she asks. I wish she understood that she's amazing with or without the masks. So what is your problem with it? She finally spurts. It's not the makeup I mind, it's just alarming to find that many who wear it are blind to the fact that that which has the power to attract lies not in the face, but the makeup of the mind. You see, beauty is an altar before which we all go, but as you approach its throne, bring small sacrifices. Change your face, but don't alter your ego. And when you wake up, you'll find you only needed to make up your mind. Thank you.